Hello, I'm Alison. I'm CEO and founder of Strategens, a labour market analytics software platform. And this is welcome to our second monthly LinkedIn segment of State of the Nation. So every month in this series, we will take a look at what we think is an important skill, and we'll analyse the external labour market using Strategens to give you insight into both the workforce, the skills in the workforce in the external market, but also the workplace. So we're unique in joining the dots between the labour market, economics and location. Before we start and dive in, let me talk to you a little bit about Strategens. So Strategens is helping some of the world's best companies to make better informed decisions about where to grow or where to consolidate, about who to hire from and where to target their talent acquisition efforts, and about the diversity and makeup of their workforce. We live in a world that is rich with geosocial data, and yet business leaders are making decisions all the time based on very limited data in any way, shape or form. So Strategens uses the very latest in machine learning and artificial intelligence to look at that rich data, to take it from messy, unstructured data and to turn it into categorized, extracted, labeled data that we can aggregate and use to help our clients make smarter, faster, better decisions. We put it into a format that business leaders can easily digest and readily make decisions on. So let's move on. As we said earlier, in this session, we're going to explore information security. So the information or InfoSec market. To put this into context, demand for InfoSec jobs is rising by 38%. And is expected to grow to 3.5 million unfilled positions by 2025. Spending on information security is set to grow by 11.3%. So this month, we're going to look through the lens of information security globally, and we're going to look through the locations of New York, London, Bangalore, and Krakow. So let's do exactly that. So one of the first things that Strategens does is it helps to identify where the pools of talent are. So based on the conversation that we've just had, we're looking in the US, we're looking in Poland, we're looking in the UK, and we're looking in India. From 2021 to 2031, the number of information security analysts is projected to grow by 35%. That makes InfoSec the 8th fastest growing occupation in the US. And although the US is taking off now and has 600,000 job openings for information security analysts, other regions aren't far behind. India is expected to skyrocket and have 1.5 million vacancies in information security in the next 3 years. In the UK, the market is expected to grow by 11.4% over a forecast period of 2022 to 2027. So what you're seeing on your screen now is the hotspots for information security analysts in the regions that we identified. Okay, so one of the things that Strategens does is it ranks different locations based on criteria that includes supply of talent, it includes the demand for that talent, and it includes who those organisations, who those people are working for, which organisations they're working for. And as you can see here, New York is the #1 location ranking for the supply of information security analysts across those locations. We then have London and Bangalore in 16th and 17th, and then we have Krakow in Poland currently in 46th. So if one of our clients is saying, actually, we're going to look to explore or grow our information security team, Strategens can help them to understand where best to do that. And it does that in a number of ways. So first of all, putting a ranking against those locations. And then what we do is we look at what the total strength of the labour pool is in those locations. So here you can see on the right-hand side, the total supply, the number of information security analysts that have got an active public profile on either a global or a regional professional networking site. Demand is the number of jobs. So we pull together the number of jobs or active jobs for that chosen location, for that chosen skill set. And in Strategens, you can start to see the number of active jobs. What that enables us to do is put together a ratio that is a direct ratio between the total supply, i.e. the number of people that there are in the market, versus the number of jobs that there are. I haven't moved, I've just been plunged into darkness in our office, versus the number of jobs that there are. And that gives us a ratio, or a heat, if you like, or a competitiveness to the market. So what you can see from this slide is clearly New York has got the greatest supply, but actually the supply across London and Bangalore is not hugely different. And yet the demand for InfoSec analysts in Bangalore is significantly higher than it is in London currently. So the ratio is 8 to 1. That's a competitive marketplace. Whereas in New York, actually, there's a large supply. There are currently a limited number of job advertisements, and therefore the supply to demand ratio is slightly higher. Okay. Next, it's important that we look through the lens of diversity in particular. As we've seen in previous State of the Nations, tech workforces predominantly are still male. According to a report conducted in 2021 by the Women's Society of Cyber Jitsu, women comprise just 11% of the global cyber workforce. But according to more recent studies in 2022, women now make up 25% of cybersecurity jobs globally. And using Strategens data, you can dive into more regionally specific data and set diversity targets that are based on the availability of talent in the external market. So what you can do is you can benchmark your internal workforce against external market availability in order to figure out whether or not you can turn the dial. And what you're seeing here is actually in all places above Bangalore that there is a greater representation than the 11% that the Cyber Jitsu Society brought up. So in all cases, there is greater than 11% female representation, and in many cases, that is creeping up towards 20% representation of females in those roles. You are most likely to be able to hire a female information security analyst in Krakow based on the data that is then available. Strategens also looks through the lens. I've got chat open, by the way, so if anyone's listening and they want to put something in chat, clearly I'm here to listen. We can also look through the lens of ethnic diversity. So what you're seeing here is that there remains a clear dominance of white males in this industry, but it's essential as part of information security that diversity of thought is seen as a valuable weapon. Diversity in defence is about bringing together a wealth of different perspectives, solutions, experiences and ideas, all of which will be vital to keeping threats at bay. So broadly speaking, you can see that this is a white population, but increasingly there's a growing population of Asian and minority information security analysts. Next thing that you can do through Strategens, and this is really important to me, is that we spend a lot of time looking through the lens of a company and what a company needs, but it's pretty rare for organisations to think about, if they're building teams, think through the lens of talent. And what you can see here is some of the data points that Strategens brings in, looking through the lens of a potential candidate. Yeah, what's the quality of life like if I start working for an organisation and I'm based out of New York? Equally, what's that quality of life like, and what's the cost of living like, or how happy are we likely to be, or what's the access to private healthcare if I'm in London or I'm in Bangalore or if I'm in Krakow? So that's looking through the lens of talent or the candidate. And what we know that our clients are doing increasingly is that they're starting to use this data in order to build out their employee value proposition. Strategens also brings together information around the cost of living and joining the dots, right, between labour market, economics and risk. And what you're seeing here is good examples of some of the data points that we pulled together around affordability. So that's a topic that many will be considering, particularly with the hardships of the turbulent economic climate that we're currently in. And these are factors that will really determine whether talent is willing to relocate or work for you. A surplus of talent exists within New York and London, but effectively, if we look at the cost of living in those places is also really high compared to some of the others. And actually, that might be that you've got locations with greater attraction prospects. And therefore, from a growth perspective, it would be interesting to look at some of the other cities that we've touched on. I'm conscious that we're 10 minutes in, and I promise that these monthly sessions will never be more than 15 minutes. So let me pop into the next piece. And the next piece is really a comparison. So really important if you're an organisation looking to grow or to consolidate, that you look through the lens of all of these elements, whether that be cost of living, whether it be diversity of workforce, in order to build out what is the right thing for you and your business. And I think when we're working with businesses on location assessments, if you're looking to grow, then make sure that there is a talent pool there that can meet your future needs. If you're looking to grow and diversity is important to you, make sure you're understanding the external market labour base. And then as you start to make shortlists of where you're going to grow, make sure that you're doing that in a place that is likely to be able to attract the talent that you need, because the cost of living, the cost of rent, the quality of life is going to be right for those individuals. Equally, and perhaps more importantly in today's economic climate, if you are an organisation and you are looking to consolidate, don't make the decision to consolidate based on cost alone. Because actually what you might find is that whilst there is a cheaper supply of labour, that the talent pool is not there to support your growth objectives. Or equally, what you might find is that in a lower cost labour location, attrition rates are higher. And any cost savings that you might be seen to be making by moving to a lower cost location could be wiped out because you're having to replace 30% or more of your workforce in a particular skill or role at any one time. And that's distracting to business. That was a bit of a fly-by-night through our monthly session, our LinkedIn live State of the Nation. Thank you very, very much for your time. Really hope you've enjoyed it. Strategens, as I said, working with some of the world's best companies to help them make radically smarter business decisions about where to grow, where to consolidate, who to hire from, informing the talent acquisition and the diversity of their workforce. Thanks very much for your chat and for your comments. I really look forward to seeing you at our next State of the Nation. Bye.